Good afternoon, everyone. Hope I'm audible. So today I'll be talking about how do we implement generative AI in your organization, right? So we all want to implement generative AI, but there are certain guiding principles to keep in mind to make a successful implementation. This is a journey to the generative AI. I will not talk about it. We all know about this, right? We know about this as well, right? So generative AI is expected to change multiple facets of every organization. How we code, how we operate, how we work, and even how we live, right? Implementing various different use cases for generative AI, we need to take care of certain dimensions. The first one being, what is the business strategy for the generative AI? People today are identifying individual use cases in silos. However, implementing generative AI in silos will give you maybe short-term success, but long-term it will not work out. I was recently talking to one of our customers who has done a fabulous job of identifying their entire generative AI roadmap for the next 12 to 18 months. They have identified about 100 use cases spanning across multiple product lines. That's what every organization would need to do to define what they want to achieve over the next 12 to 18 months and not just what they want to do in the next 2 months. The next thing is the data strategy. Again, where is the data going to come from? How is this data going to get consolidated? How would this work with your existing predictive algorithms, right? All of this needs to take an account before you do your generative AI applications. Then you also need to worry about what we call as LLM ops. Just like ML ops, you need to worry about the infrastructure, how the infrastructure will scale for your different use cases. Because believe me, if you are just doing 1 or 2 use cases, the infrastructure works out to be quite expensive. It's when you implement holistically across your organization is when you see the benefit against the cost incurred for the infrastructure. And lastly, you need to set up guardrails. How do you protect personally identifiable data? How do you ensure that the data which is coming or the output which is coming out of the large language models are accurate and useful for your organization, right? Slightly diving into deeper, what are the kind of the best practices when you're talking about your business goals? Define a very clear roadmap, right? Have a clear ROI for all your use cases. It's not just about a cool technology, but it's also mapping it to the business value, right? And then obviously everybody who is worked in technical teams will know you are always under pressure to show some success to the board or to your CEO. Use some low-hanging problems. So for example, you could always go with a few easy customer support use cases and show early success so that you can work out the larger roadmap. So from a technology perspective, again, large language models, generative AI do come with certain limitations. We need to be aware of those limitations. For example, how would you take care of biases in the model? How do you take care of hallucination, right? How do you ensure greater accuracy of the outputs? So this is where you need to do an iterative process. For example, let's talk about a recent example where we were working with a customer. This is a healthcare information company, right? And to provide information back to the users, we actually had to do a prompt engineering where the prompt had to be as long as 3 pages of prompts to get a proper answer, right? The user asks a 1-line query, but you have to append a system-generated prompt which talks about the organizational context, which talks about the user context, which talks about what sort of responses should be given as an example so that you get the right response back to the user and avoid the model interpreting on its own, right? This way you can, but this also has a chance of introducing bias into the models, right? Because end of the day, it is humans who are generating the prompts. So here again, the best way to tackle this is have an automated prompt database which you can use for automating your testing suite so that you run those tests suite to check out the biases. The third aspect is don't focus on the cost in the first iteration. The first iteration, you need to focus on accuracy. Look at how you can get the best output possible, and then you go into the optimization cycles so that you don't compromise on the quality. Right. The last aspect would be to incorporate feedback loops. Just like with any AI model, capture user feedback either explicitly or implicitly and feed this back into your training data sets as well as prompt databases so that you can improve the model over a period of time. And I think I believe I'm done within time. Thank you, everyone.